I'm reading Spoiler 1033, The of One Piece, Shimotsuki Kousabura. On the cover, Teshigi and Smoker play with penguins on a frozen island. Teshigi is the villain who surrendered with a white flag. She wears a shark hat. The penguins are the heroes who defeat her. One of them is perched on Tashigi with a carved sword. Smoker is sitting in the background doing nothing well. Happy Wings looks scared at him. The chapter begins outside Onigashima Castle, where Zoro and King continue to fight. Zoro complains to Enma about getting out of control without permission and then manages to regain his ambition. His arm returns to its normal state. King takes advantage of the confusion and longs for Zoro but suddenly stops in front of him doing nothing. Zoro is surprised but does not hesitate to attack him and sticks and Sandai Hitetsu in his body. However, the attack does nothing to King. King, you hit the right place. Oh, suddenly there is a powerful explosion in place where they are both. We went to the brothel on the left tower, on the Dukuro Dome. There were see that Sanji's last attack has sent Queen flying through several rooms and that Queen is returning to where Sanji is. He doesn't seem to be very hard. Queen say, Mwahahaha. The guy you were talking to early was a pirate hunter. That guy can beat King. Sanji, Queen. King is a survivor of the extinct Lunarian tribe. They are a tribe of monsters capable of surviving in any condition in nature. That's why they were called gods by the people of all. Sanji say, how is it possible that such a tribe becomes extinct? Queen, go and ask yourself. As Queen say this last sentence, we see her open her mouth to fire a laser beam at Sanji. We return to outside of Onigashima Castle. Zoro has managed to save himself from the explosion because he covered his body with ambition with weaponry features. King stands in front of him without a stretch. Zoro wonders how he could possibly have survived an explosion caused by himself. Zoro attacks him again. Zoro, Itoriule, style of a sword drawing attack. Shishishi song of the song, the lion of death. Zoro attacks King again but still doesn't do nothing to him. King, without moving from the ground, transforms into a pterodon and grabs the crest on his head again and throws a tempura odon at Zoro from Point Blank Range. Zoro draws his sword to defend himself, but the aim sword loses control again and begins to absorb Zoro's ambition. Zoro say, wait a minute, Emma, just such a time. King, Tempura Odon Pro Imperial Tuesday. Zoro is unable to complete the attack and is hit on the side. King's attack destroys part of on side of Onigashima Island. Do the attack, Zoro drops his sword. King, wow, a swordman hindered by his own sword. This is the first time I've seen something like this. Zoro throws himself into the void and manages to retrieve one of his swords. Zoro, Sandai Hitetsu. Why in the air? Zoro remembers the conversation he had with Hitetsu about the sword. Hitetsu, the Sandai Hitetsu you carry in my creation. Zoro say, really? Zoro also remember how to got the sword in Lao Town. Zoro say it's a cursed sword. Matsu, I idiot. I'm not going to sell it to you. If you died, it would be as if I had killed you. Zoro, I take it. King flies up to Zoro and delivers a flaming hit that smashes Zoro to the ground. Zoro gets up and sees that another of his sword is there. Zoro say, wow, hahaha, you haven't fallen. I'm glad you are okay. Well, Ichimonji. Zoro, now remember the moment he got Queen Swords. Zoro, Sensei, please give me your sword. Koshiro, okay, I give it to you. Zoro, I will become strong for her too. I will become the best swordman in the world and my name will reach to the sky. Wow, 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 wow. Zoro later recalled another part and his conversation with Hitetsu. Hitetsu, that white sword, the Wado Ichimonji, and the Enma have the same creator, the master craftsman Shimotsuki Kosabu. Zoro then begins to connect the dots on the origin of the swords. Zoro, the time I couldn't think about it because it was all too rushed. But why die? Some sword from Wano Kuni and end up in its blood. King attacks Zoro from the air with a new technique called Burst Dawn Imperial Twin Sword, with which he launches a blast of shock waves created by flapping his wings. While Zoro blocks the attacks as best he can, he recovers Enma, but the sword continues to absorb his ambition. King comes to where Zoro is and hits him with a wing. Zoro blocks the attack, but the ground breaks and Zoro falls into an area inside the castle. As he falls, Zoro recalls a conversation he had with Momonosuke. Momonosuke says, Zorochuro, they told me not to say Tsunachi. Zoro, in the past, I learned in front an old man in my village. I have never said it. Momonosuke, Zoro remembers that he ever knew the name of that old man who was always on the beach. On the day of his death, Zoro found out that this old man was Kuina's grandfather. We see an image of Kuina with his father mourning the death of his grandfather. Oh. Zoro recalled his conversation with Hitetsu again. Hitetsu, The master craftsman Shimotsuki Kosaburo, a man who left this country illegal for more than 50 years ago. A flashback that takes place 13 years early begins in the Shimotsuki village of the East Blue. After losing again to Kuina, Zoro goes to the coast to continue training. There is the old man Zoro remembers Shimotsuki Kosaburo teaching him the word Tsunachi. The old man say it katakana instead of hiragana, as Momonosuke said. I don't know. Zoro asks the old man if he was once a samurai, since everyone in the dojo talks about it. Kosaburo tells Zoro to shut, but the Marines could come after him. Then he tells him to return around and leave. Zoro sticks his tongue out at him and he leaves to continue training. Kosaburo watches Zoro as he trains. Kosaburo, are you bored at the dojo? Zoro, I lost to Queen again, so I must keep training. Kosaburo hands Zoro two trained swords. Zoro is shocked and tells him that he has no money to pay for them. Kosaburo tells him that it doesn't matter. Kosaburo says these swords are the only thing I can create now. Use them for practice. Swords are life-taking tools created to kill people. We craftsmen design swords that can snatch as many lives as possible. Sort of, Kosaburo, each sword has two in personality that the swordsman must know in order to master it. A dangerous sword is a cursed sword. Silly stuff. The cursed sword are just famous sword feared by weak. That's why they call them curses. The sword is scarred simply because it's capable of fulfilling the duty for which it was created. The sword I made when I was young was masterpiece of my life. It was a sword that took its duty very seriously. I got that famous sword, my name of King of the Underworld. We return to the present. Zoro is living on the ground with surprised face. He finally understands everything. Zoro, ah, the king of the underworld. Eggman? The name of the village is Shimotsuki, so it wasn't a coincidence. Zoro remembers how the children of Shimotsuki village say that the village was created by pirates a long time ago, according to their grandparents. Then remember he takes war again, Zoro, so that old man who was a Wanokuni samurai was he the master craftsman Shimotsuki Kosaburo. Zoro remember other words from the Kosaburo. Kosaburo say famous swords are always watching humans and they choose the swordsman who sweets and best. Zoro also remember Ipsomatsu sword in Lawton. Ipsomatsu, they say that the sword chooses its master. Zoro looks at Eggman, who is pinned to the ground. Despite on being in his hand, the sword is still active. It is spilling steam, and Zoro's arm is still affected by the absorption and ambition from Eggman. Zoro, I'm here, choose me, put me to the rest, to the test, put me to the test. Zoro grabs Eggman, his arm returns to normal. Kim is in front of him. Zoro, it's true that as war has no ill will be natural. That means my power is still not enough. Maybe Odin could fight with ills, even when such amount of ambition was being drained from him. Isn't that right, Emma? Several subordinates of the best pairs approached the area to help King. Some believe that if they defeat Zoro, they will get a promotion. Zoro keeps King. Zoro, what say, what should I do to stable my ambition? If I allow such amount of ambition be released, I could end up costing my life. Suddenly, the subordinates of the Vespers began to faint to the phone at the mouth. Zoro, no, this is now it should be. Zoro stands before King. Black rays and steam come out of his three swords. King, I see. So you intended to become a king, Zoro? At the moment, Zoro remembers the words Luffy said I'm king when he agreed to join his crew. Luffy, perfect. The best swordsman in the world. The best companion for the king of pirates. It will take a fool not to accept you in my crew. Zoro answered King with a smile and his mouth and a challenging look. Zoro, that's right, that's right. I have a promise to keep to my captain and my best friend. This is wonderful, wonderful, Nakamas. This is incredible.